Hey, Steve Saretsky here. I want to put together a quick video. As always, there's a blog post in the description below that's going to show you all the graphs and charts that go along with this video. I just want to talk about a few things that I'm hearing in 2017, obviously being around the office, open houses, showings, just chatter around from other realtors and people in the industry. There seems to be a bit of this denial, basically trying to formulate kind of any excuse in terms of falling sales, and believe me, I get it. I mean, obviously, being an agent, having to put food on the table, you have you need to formulate a reason for why these sales are falling off, and to keep the market going, to keep people buying and selling, and I get that, and it's tough for an agent, and for myself, it's something that goes against the grain. Believe me, of course you struggle with it and think about, okay, how can I, am I saying too much about the market? But it just bothers me because I hear this advice and I hear what people are saying, and I shake my head, and that's not right. And I see people relying on this information, and you said, people are about to make some of the biggest financial decisions of their lives, and I personally think there's some bad advice out there. I think there's a tremendous amount of very, very good agents. But again, it's tough because it's a commission-based industry, right? So there's every incentive to keep the market going, and I get it. I really do. And so basically, I'm gonna get to the point here. The point of the matter is that sales have really dropped off. I mean, obviously, as of December, and this is a trend that's been continuing over the last few months. Detached sales are down 50% year over year as of December. Townhouse sales in Vancouver, this is all in Vancouver, but it's basically throughout Greater Vancouver. Townhouse sales are down 30% year over year. Condo sales are down 25% year over year. So basically, there's this argument now that, sales have really dropped off, specifically in the condos and townhouse markets, because inventory is so low. There's nothing for people to buy. But that argument really doesn't, it sounds intellectually, it makes sense. But if you look back last year and even in 2015, we had record lows. So just to put this into context, basically the top of the market for sales was in March of 2016. In not only the detached, the condos, and the townhouse market, we had record sales, like of all time. In March 2016, we had record sales. That was despite having all-time record low inventory levels. So we set record sales. We set a record number of sales despite record low inventory levels. And now we're trying to say, oh, well, sales are down because, inventory is so low. Where was that argument last year? It doesn't make sense. So that's not the reason why sales are down. Sales are down because the demand is down. Yes, you can say that open houses might be busy, or maybe your phone's ringing a little bit more. But the fact of the matter is, sales dictate what the market is doing. Sales dictate demand, and the numbers strictly, they're just not there. Do I think the condo market is going down, or the town? I don't know. Obviously, short term, maybe it doesn't look so optimistic, so bright. I mean, obviously Vancouver in a long term, I'm very optimistic about it. I think prices are always going to be a high here. I think it's always going to be a very good investment. But in the short term, I think there's a lot of things to look at, and I think to be discrediting the sales numbers, factually doesn't make any sense, because again, like I said, we set record sales despite low inventory. And people say, okay, well, new listings really need to pick up in order for prices to start coming down. Okay, well, again, let's look at it in the detached market. So again, I'm going to use Vancouver, and we're going to look at December numbers. Sales were down 50% year over year. That was despite inventory dropping. Inventory levels dropped 24%. But because nothing has been selling over the last 4 to 6 months in the detached market, all that inventory starts piling up and up and up and up because nothing is selling. So it doesn't matter if you have a rush of sellers to go and sell. basically what happens is inventory right now as of December is 10% above the 10-year average. So inventory levels are actually quite high in the detached market, and that's which pushed prices are down 15 to 20%. Again, pick up the phone, call a realtor, they'll tell you the exact same thing. The fact is, from peak prices back in March and April, roughly, detached prices are down in Vancouver, and for most of Greater Vancouver, they're down about 15 to 20%. And again, that's not from a surge of new listings. This is just from inventory backing up, and from sales being so low, 50% below. So again, it's certainly a thing that you would think, trickles down into the condos and townhouse markets. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. But everybody seemed to make the argument last year, realtors included. I heard it. Again, I'm not calling anyone out. We've got a lot of friends and family in this industry, so certainly not calling anybody out, but we need to call a spade. And the fact of the matter is, everybody said that when detached prices took off first, and then obviously condos and townhouses followed it, everybody said, yes, it was a trickle-down effect. Your home went up $1 million, and mom and dad gave you some money for your condo or townhouse, or you sold and cashed out and downsized. It's a trickle effect. Think about it. It makes sense. But now everybody's saying, well, no, yes, the detached market is corrected 15 to 20%, but they're three very different markets, and there won't be any trickle effect. Well, how can that be? If it was that way on the way up, what would it not do that on the way down? Again, I don't know. I'm not making any predictions, but it's just funny that that's the argument, or that seems to be the saying, is that it won't trickle down, but it could trickle up. It could certainly trickle up. As the prices went up, it could certainly trickle. But as they correct, no, it won't trickle. It really just doesn't make sense. If you think about it, there's actually a stat in British Columbia that basically said 46% of first-time buyers got help from mom and dad. Certainly, in this market, it's almost impossible to get in unless you get help from mom and dad. So 46%. So you have to think, okay, well, what happens if detached prices come down, like again, right now, 15 to 20%? Maybe mom and dad don't give you as much money. Maybe they don't give you any at all. Maybe the banks become a little bit tighter. Maybe they don't want to give you that home equity line of credit. Maybe they're not as comfortable giving you some money as your home price comes down. And that's what we call credit tightening. And so you certainly think that there has to be a trickle down. So anyways, I'm just like to call out some of the arguments that are being made. Again, I don't make any predictions. I'm still bullish on Vancouver real estate in the long term. I think it's certainly a good investment. Short term, again, I am a little bit concerned. Some of these factors. Yes, as of right now, condos and townhouse inventory is at all-time lows. It's even lower than March 2016. So yes, we do have a problem to really see a push down on prices. But again, it doesn't need to come from a surge of new listings. It can just come from sales slowing down. And so when I see sales are down 25% in condos, 30% in townhouses, early numbers in January show that it's the same trend happening in January. For me, that's a telling sign that, okay, maybe that's when we can see a further push down on prices. Again, from peak, townhouses are down about 7%. Condos are down about 5% from the peak. Again, these are all, click on the link below. It's in my blog, and gave you the charts to see, and you can go and see it, and you can see what these charts are doing. Now, it's hard to track prices on a month-to-month basis because, again, they can go like this. But if you look at all those charts, they're all going like this, and this is nothing that I make up. This is nothing that I say. I don't know if that trend is going to continue, nor am I making, again, any predictions, but I certainly look at it as sales are a lead indicator. Sales are slowing down. It can't be blamed for low inventory. So that's what I look for, and I like to point all this out. Again, it just bothers me when those arguments are made, on the way up, and everybody wants to shove them to the side as the prices come down. I get it. Maybe it's a little biased, but again, everything I do, I put out the content for you, the consumer. You guys need to take what I say, take what another realtor says, take what the news says, the economists, formulate your own opinions. Don't rely strictly on me. I would need everybody to formulate their own opinions. I'm, again, just pointing out some things that I am seeing. And yeah, so hope that helped. Again, please click on the link, the blog. You're going to see all those charts there. None of the stuff I make up. Again, sales are always a very good indicator. I certainly don't think condo prices are going to start pushing down, immediately. This stuff takes time, if at all, if it does even happen. But again, the lead indicator is sales. Sales are slowing down. Let's not just go ahead and discredit it, because we certainly didn't discredit it. We didn't discredit the low inventory. We didn't use that as an excuse back when prices were going up. All right, hope that helped.